Hi, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, a place where you can learn about body language and non-verbal communication. Click like, click subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment if anything springs to mind during the process. And let's get on with it. So today we're going to be talking about an individual leaning in or leaning out. Most likely going to be a subconscious behavior, but it could also be conscious, given that maybe they don't hear you or, for other particular reasons we're going to delve into. So this is a very basic principle, which I like to call the attraction and repulsion principle. Alright, so those which lean in may possibly be attracted to you, and those that lean outwards, away from you, might be a little bit repulsed, such as the magnet, right? So, leaning in may signal interest, and leaning out may signal disinterest, respectively. Alright? When we are interested in other people, we will subconsciously get close to them, such as they will to us, whereas if we are repulsed by somebody, we will move away. If you consider going to a shop and there is a cute woman serving you, alright, and you need to receive a receipt or change off of her, they may feel, and you may feel, the attraction to create a connection of the hands whilst exchanging such things. Whereas if there is a disinterest, there may be a lack of connection, and if anything, a forced sort of attempt to not touch. Alright? So this is applied in the leaning in and out. Okay? So leaning in towards an individual shows them that there's a wish to gain a form of intimacy or enforce an intimacy that already exists, okay? When you are sitting in a meeting or a presentation, or when you're watching somebody public speak, or when you are, just at any sort of social event, full stop, you can lean towards the individual whom is speaking, or one of the individuals whom you want to show your attention to, who is entertaining or doing whichever. Alright, you lean inwards, you don't lean outwards. So this applies to whether you yourself in a one-to-one basis are of interest. They'll lean inwards to hear what you're saying and show you that interest, okay? And create a good engagement, right? As referenced, if you want the yin to yang, you can reverse that to show the disinterest, alright? Somebody says something distasteful, you might see the individual bounce back to some extent, whether it be slowly and minute or whether that be, quite dramatic and sudden. Alright, pay attention to that. Don't lean in too forward, as you may be deemed creepy. I've worked in, when I was younger, I've worked in many different places as to where somebody's needed help, and in doing so, they've come so close to me that I've had to take a step backwards out of just sheer discomfort. Okay, not due to the person being a bad person in any means, but due to the triggering effect it has on an individual. While somebody steps into your personal and intimate space, they could harm you, okay? And your brain wants you to step out of that zone. So don't be that person, alright? And pay attention if you are getting close to somebody whom you are sexually interested in as a means of coming onto them. Pay attention if they step out of that zone, okay? Because that's not something that you want. Whereas if they stand there and allow it and soak it up, that might be of your benefit, okay? Moving forward into the space of another can expose which of the two are the most interested, and whom is the most dominant and in control, i.e. the one who hasn't engaged in that. Leaning back will force others to engage with you and pursue you, rather than the other way around. It's the cat and mouse game, it's the coquette, the hot and cold. As I spoke on an earlier video, which you can check out in regards to speaking quietly, that can create a spell of forcing people to move closer to you, creating intimacy. and great attention to the words you speak. Okay? When an individual leans in, you want to have a look at the cluster of behaviour, so the engagement of the eyes, the eye contact. Is there any bodily touch? Is there any physical touch to any extent? And so on and so forth. To put a long story short, those that lean in are attracted, maybe not sexually, but are attracted to you, the words you're saying, or the message you're speaking, of what you can offer to them. So that's of a benefit to your nature, that puts you in the seat of power, whereas those who move away are repelled, are disinterested, and maybe, not in the best position to sell a product to, whichever it may be at that time. Hopefully this was of benefit. If you enjoyed, click like, click subscribe. Have you experienced this? Leave a comment below. Goodbye.